Hello, class. How you all doing today? And good morning to you all. Alright, thank God we are all doing well. I'm also doing very, very well. Alright, so last week we talked about rank skills. Alright, I hope you all remember it. We talked about rank skills. And I do hope and believe that each and every one of you remember what a rank skill is or what we talked about it. Alright. Then today we will be moving to another topic. Alright. We'll be moving to another very, very interesting topic. That is morphemes. But before we go into details, I hope and believe that by the end of this lesson, each and every learner will be able to demonstrate knowledge on morphemes and its types. You'll be able to demonstrate knowledge on what a morpheme is and its types. Okay? Alright, so let's begin today's section. We will first look at what a morpheme is. So if you say a morpheme is the smallest linguistic part of a word that can have a meaning, right? It is the smallest linguistic part of a word that can have a meaning. Or in other words, it is the smallest meaningful part of a word. Smallest meaningful part of a word. Alright, so we can have examples like an, that is UN. You can have break and also able. So when you put them in a word or which is in a word, unbreakable, right? Unbreakable. So you see you can divide them, right? Also, further explanations is a movement is not identical to a word, right? It is not identical to a word. The main difference between morpheme and a word is that a morpheme sometimes does not stand alone. A morpheme sometimes does not stand alone. Like we saw in the definition that it is the smallest meaningful part of a word. So here we are seeing that it does not stand alone. It is always attached to a word, right? And but a word by definition always stands alone. So a word can stand alone, right? Alright, so let's move on and look at some types of morpheme. Some types of morpheme. Morphemes have so many types. Okay, so some of the types are prefix morphemes, suffix morphemes, full morphemes, empty morphemes, free morphemes, bound morphemes, inflectional morphemes, and derivational morphemes. Do you get it? So let us take them one after the other and see what they means or the definition of or what they mean. Yeah, that is it. So the first one we look at is its prefix morphemes. If you talk about or if you say prefix morphemes, what does it mean? Alright, prefix morphemes. They are morphemes that attach to the front of a root or based word. Right? It is attached to the front of a root or based word. And we can have examples like re, that is re. So when you add it to or when you attach it to a word like gain, you will get regain. Right, you will get regain. Another one is retained. And another example is semi. So when you attach semi to a word like circle, you will get semicircle, right? So another example is sub. So when you attach sub to the front of a word like marine, you get submarine. You understand? So another one is super. So when you add super or when you attach super to a word like star, you get superstar. Alright, so another example is trans. When you attach trans to a word like port, you get transport. Alright, and another one is an, that is un. When you add or attach this an to a word like friendly, you get unfriendly. Alright, so these are the examples of prefix morphemes. So let us move on to another types, which is suffix morpheme. So suffix morphemes are morphemes that attach to the end of a root or base word. So we saw that the prefix, it is added to the front, but this one is suffix, it is added to the end of a root or based word. Alright, so we can have examples like ship, that is ship. So when you add ship to a word like, when you attach it to the end of a word like fellow, you get fellowship, right? And another one is friendship, you will get worship, and also relationship. So we see that the ship is attached to the end of these words. So another example of prefixes, another example of suffix is meant. So when you add it to the end or when you attach it to the end of a word like argue, you will get arguments. And also a word like endorsement, punishment. So we can have another example like nurse. When you add it to or when you attach it to a word like sad, you get sadness, rudeness, heaviness. And you can also have example like ity. And when you attach it to the end of these words, you get inactivity, veracity, and activity. You understand? So these are also examples of um, suffix morphemes. So let us move on to another type, which is free morpheme. Free morpheme. So free morpheme, it is a morpheme that can stand on its own and make meaning. They can stand on their own and make meaning. So we can have example like eat. So eat can stand alone. I hope you understand it. If I say eat, you understand and you know what it means, right? So another example is date. I hope you understand dates. It makes a meaning. It can stand on its own, right? And another example is week. Week can also stand on its own and make meaning without attaching anything to it or without attaching any morpheme to it. Alright, so another one is bound morpheme. Bound morpheme, it is a type of morpheme that cannot stand alone and make meaning. It cannot stand alone and make meaning unless you attach it to a root or base word. Right? So it cannot stand on its own and make meaning unless you attach it to a root or base word. So you can have example like en. It doesn't make meaning, right? But when you add it to a base word like eat, you can get eating, right? This one makes meaning, right? Okay, so these are some of the examples. Ing, you can add it to um, a base word like week. Okay, so that is it. You can have un, you can have ment, you can have mis. So these are examples of bound morphemes. They cannot stand on their own and make meaning, right? Okay, so there are another types. You can have inflectional morphemes. Inflectional morphemes, and they are morphemes that do not change the meaning or the word class of a word. Okay, they are morphemes that do not change the meaning or the word class of a word. So when you add it to a word, it does not change its meaning, right? It is a morpheme. When you add it to a word, it does not change its meaning. So you can have example like oh, oh, and this word, when you add it to this word, speedometer. So you see that you hear the sound oh, it doesn't change the meaning. Speedometer. It doesn't change the meaning of this one. It is just attached to it, but it doesn't change its meaning. So you can have this one, tables. So you get to know that the morpheme attached to it is the S, but it hasn't changed its meaning. Right. I hope you understand what I mean. Okay. So tables, the S attached to the table has not changed the definition or the meaning of a table, right? Okay, another one is derivational morphemes. They are morpheme that changes the word classes. This one is when you add the morpheme to the word, it changes the definition of the word or it changes the meaning of the word. So that is what is called um, derivational morphemes. You understand? Okay. So there are many. We have full morphemes, you have empty morphemes. So that is it. These are the types of morphemes. So let us look at, do we even have importance of morphemes at all? So let us look at some importance of morphemes. Okay, so some of the important is it helps readers better understand meaning and also spellings, because this one, it will help you to divide the words. You divide the words so you will understand it, and it will help you in spelling of it easily. And it makes spelling of complex words or spelling exceptions easier for students to remember. Like the first one, you'll be able to divide the word, so you know how to spell it easily. Okay. All right. So this is where we will bring our lesson to a close. I do hope and believe that each and every learner have gotten something, right? I hope you've gotten a thing or two. So we will end here and continue next time. Okay? Okay, alright, I go by the name Miss Joana Kakra Entsie. Alright, so see you next time. Bye, bye, bye.